Hello, everyone. Today, I wanted to talk to you about sacred space. What is sacred space? So, on the Lunar New Year and the new moon in Aquarius, we entered into a new evolutionary cycle with the 13 rays. Each moon of the year, there are 13 in total, give us an opportunity to evolve even greater into our wholeness, into our evolutionary potential. So the Maroon Ray, this first ray of the year, is the ray of sacred space. And as you can see, I'm wearing this maroon top. I'm wearing some maroon pants as well. You can't see them because they're below the camera. And I am capturing this video in one of my sacred spaces, which I will show you in a few minutes. So let's talk a little bit about what is sacred space and why is this important? Sacred space creates a container for our evolution. And so we dedicate a whole moon to sacred space because we want to consider how can we bring in the sacred into our lives even more so than we already are. How can we bring the sacred into all the spaces we inhabit, including our bodies, including our physical environments, our homes, the land we live in, our work? How can we bring it into our routines? How can we make our time sacred? So these are all the questions we get to ask ourselves during this cycle, this moon cycle. So a big question to ask is, what makes something sacred? What makes a space sacred? And to that, I believe that it feels good. It feels good to be in that space. So when we think about bringing the sacred into our bodies, treating our bodies as temples, we consider how can we nourish our bodies? How can we care for our bodies to make our bodies feel really good to live in? How can we be easier on our bodies? How can we be more graceful? And we also think about our hearts and minds as our inner temple spaces, right? So how can we elevate our consciousness into love every day? How can we bring the frequency of love into our thoughts, into our intentions, into all that is moving through us, into the dreaming space within us, so that the dreaming space within our heart and our mind becomes a sacred space? And then we think about how to carve out sacred spaces in our environments. Even if it's just a corner in a room, even if it's like a closet that you go into to bring yourself into quiet, to stillness, to peace. Having a space that brings you joy, having items in that space that spark something in you that feels good, that remind you of who you really are, that remind you of your connection to the divine. So I have several altars and sacred spaces in my home. And honestly, when we moved into this home last year in April, my intention was to make the whole home a temple. And that is definitely a work in progress. It is always a work in progress, sacred space. So I wanted to show you one of my sacred spaces today. So let me see if I can do that here. Okay, so here is one of my altars. This is my lineage altar, where I have Isis and Mary Magdalene, where I have my anointing oil. I have feathers of a dove. I have several seashells. I have Bridget's cross. I have Ellen of the Ways. I have the dragon. I have angel wings. I have the green man. I have my runes. And then we have Bridget up here. This is one of my favorite places to be in when I am in my spiritual practice, when I am with clients, when I am creating, when I'm writing and journaling. I just love being in this space, and I've created it that way so that it's just for me. The other piece that we want to think about when it comes to sacred space is around our time. What practices can we bring in that infuse intention into our day? So practices with intention that are done regularly are called rituals. So your sacred rituals. So for example, every morning I wake up, I go downstairs, and I have a hot cup of cacao, and I draw some oracle or tarot cards, and I journal my dreams. That is my routine absolutely every morning, hardly ever without exception. And then before I get on with my day, either before or after I shower and get ready, I have a regular spiritual practice where I call in all the directions, I center within my heart, and I feel into what is present and what are my intentions for the day. And then I have a whole clearing and protecting my energy field practice also that I do every day. That can be kind of blown out into a much bigger practice depending on my day, or it can be very minimal. It really depends. But I have the structure there that I fall back on every day. So I would love to know, what makes your spaces sacred? What are your sacred practices? Feel free to share in the comments. Thanks for watching.